Hello, my name is Dorana. This is a video about transformation. So in A, here we have yellow. This is called a vertical stretch or a compression. The K value in green is known as a horizontal stretch or a compression. Our D value represents our horizontal translations. Our C value represents our translations vertically. Let's move on to another rule. So this is a graphic notation. So once it goes from your base x y values to your more modified graph. So let's do this question, for example. So doing this question, let's look at what our base graph is. So in this case, our base graph is actually y equals cos of x. So from here, let's look at all of the transformations. So we can see from here, oh, wrong one. So from here, we can see our -4. So if our a value is less than -4, it's reflected in the x-axis. And then in this case, is bigger than 4 from here. So this 4 is greater than 1. So our graph is also vertically stretched. So let's write that down. So graph is vertically stretched by 4 and also reflected in the in x axis. So the other thing we could see is pi over 4, this pi over 4 here. Again, that pi over 4 in this case represents our k value. So our k value, oh sorry, not our k value, our d value. Since our k value is with 1, with x, which is 1, our our d value in this case is translated horizontally. So we could see the value of d will always be the opposite. So in this case, this is positive pi over 4. Therefore, it's going to be a negative pi over 4. So negative pi over, let me back up. Translated, I'm just going to write translated horizontally. So I'm just going to write horizontally by pi over 4 units. And then let's look at here. This is our 2 value. This represents our vertical translations. So translated vertically, oh, vertically by 2 units up. Because it's positive, it will go up. So that's that. So this is all the transformations we have. So now let's try to use our graphing notation to graph this. So first, when we're using graphing notations, we gotta look at y equals cos of x, which is our base graph. So using our base graph, x and y values, we can make a small graph that looks like this. So our x value at 0, my y value is at 1. Pi over 2, pi over 2, let me write pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 and 2 pi. So this graph is for cos of x for 1 period. So my y is going to be 1, 0 here, -1, 0, and +1. So from going from this to the other one, if you go back, our base graph here, we have the x and y values here. Now we got to put it into this form here. So x over k plus d, ay plus c. So going to that form, it's going to be, let me go more to that side. So our x over k, so our x is going to remain the same. Our k value is 1, so we don't have to write that. X over k plus d. Our d value in this case is our pi over 4. But remember, pi over 4 is negative pi over 4 since we look at the opposite. So it's going to be x minus pi over 4. That's for our x. And then look at y. So y is going to be ay plus c. So looking here, our a value is -4. -4. Y plus c. Our c value here is 2. So we're going to write that down there. So doing this is the same as you do anything else. So you get the value from here. So you get 0, for example, and that you put it in here pretty much. So it's going to be 0 minus pi over 4, which is going to in turn be negative pi over 4. And then same thing goes for the other one. So negative 4, negative 4 times 1, that's going to be negative 4 plus 2, that's going to give you a negative 2. So you just keep on repeating that. So that's next one is going to be pi over 4 plus 2. Next one is going to be 3 pi over 4 plus 6. 5 pi over 4. Oh, that's not the thing. 5 pi. 5 pi over 4 plus 2. Let me extend the graph. Plus 2. 2 pi over, oh, that's 7 pi, my bad. 7 pi over 4 minus 2. So here we could see what our graph turned into or reflected into more of, because this is for one period, and in this case here, this is what our period turned into. So this graph is, you could look at decimals and you could see the look at the graph. So here we have the base graph. From the base graph, our value got a vertical stretch and got reflected in the y-axis. So we got a vertical stretch of negative 4 and a x-axis flip. So that's gonna in turn be like this. And then our graph gets translated left by pi over 4. So it's going to be opposite. So that's going to be pi over 4. And then next, our graph is going to be translated 2 units up. So that's our graph. So let's look at if we got the points right. Let me still have the other graph. So this is our base graph compared to the other one. So now let's look at our point. So our 0 and 1 point, so which is our 0 and 1 point here, went to negative pi over 4 and 2. So that's our new point for this point here. So for our next point, it's going to be here. We got the same one. And then for the rest of the points, we have all of that. So let me take that out. So as you can see, the graph gives approximately one period, or exactly one period. But our graph translated from here and here to here and here. Let's move on to another example now. So the next example we have is a log function. So graphing this, we gotta look at our base graph. So our base graph, oh, currently I cannot, sorry. Our base graph. So looking at our base graph is y equals log 2. So in this case, this is our base graph. So let's look at our translations and horizontal compressions that occurred. So we could see that there is no vertical there's no vertical compressions or stretches, as there is no a here, or a value is at 1, which is default. Let's look at k value. So our k value is at 3. So our value is horizontally compressed by a factor of 1 over 3. And then we have the 2 value here. So this is translated left, since it's a positive. So it's going to be translated left by 2 units. And then same thing. So translated up by 3 units. So let's draw the base graph, or get points for the base graph. So y equals log of 2, y equals log of 2. So the base graph for this looks something like this. Give me a second. So let's get a decimal point. So that's going to be 0.5 and negative 1, 1 and 0, 1 and 1, and 4 and 2. So now, again, we use the graphing notation. Graphing notation x, in this case, we have a k. Our k value in this case is the positive 3 here. So x over k, so 3, plus our d. In our case, our d is here. The d is positive 2, which will in turn into negative 2. So that's going to be negative 2. So that's x over k plus d. And then here, our y value is going to be a over y. Sorry, a times y. Our a is 1, so we don't have to write a, so it's going to be y. Plus our c value. Our c value is 3. So that's going to be our graphing notation. So when we do pi over 3, give me a second. Sorry, 0.5 as our x value from here over 3 minus 2. That will give you negative 1.83. Y value, so negative 1 plus 3 will give you 2. I'm just going to write the rest down since it's pretty basic. 1.66, negative 1.33, and negative 0.66. 1, 2, sorry. Oh, sorry, this is 2, not 3, 4, and 5. So this is what our graph will look like. Or sorry, our translated functions, sorry, translated and vertically compressed, all of that would look like. So these are the translated points. So it went from all of this to this. So let's look at that in decimals, where we could easily understand it a bit better. So over here, we have the full graph. Let's look at how it got to that point. So first, we got a horizontal stretch of 3. So that's what the horizontal stretch would look like. Then our graph got translated to the left by 2 units. So that got translated 3 units. I'm sorry, 2 units. And now it will translate up 3 units. So our, for example, this 2.585 will go move on to 5.585. So it's going to be plus 3. And now it's at 5.585. So that is that. Now let's look at the points here. So our, I'm going to turn this into the base graph again. So it's y equals log of 2x. There we go. So this is what our transformation looks like. So now let's plot these. So I've already preloaded them onto decimals here. So these are our points. So as you can see, our graph translated from this 1 to 1 all the way to 1.833, 2 all the way to 1.667, 3 all the way to negative 0.66. So that was the video for transformation. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.